Welcome.
All right.
Thank you. Wow. Quite the intro.
Yeah. Man's got boisterous at the end.
Yeah. Welcome to the Instant Quote Show. I'm Kenny, the Blueprint Tour on Twitter, and we got Carter, BPT Carter, and Phil, Permit Zip Phil here with us. We are going to do the Instant Quote Show today for you, a show that we're making up as we go. And I still say we're going to be eventually offering a wrestling title belt for the winner, the ultimate winner of this show. I'm still trying to work that out. And so today we are going to talk a little bit, a couple projects here. We got Jason on the horn. He's getting set up now. What's up, Jason? We'll bring him on in a second. So we got a couple projects, a plumbing situation to talk, and we'll see what kind of project Jason has. This game, if you're tuning in, and if you've never tuned in before, we talk a little bit about a construction project in the commercial real estate world. And we're engineers, and usually make people frustrated with us. And then we got Austin. Oh yeah, Austin's here too. So he said he's spicy today, so I can't wait to see what he's got up for bid. We're gonna start with Jason because he was here first. Bring him up, Jason. You ready? Here he comes. What's up, brother? Can you hear us?
I can. How you guys doing this afternoon?
Doing good, man. Doing good. We welcome to the show. Thanks for doing this last minute, hopping in with us. This will be a fun one. I know you called, you asked, like, how do we prepare for the show? And I guess the answer is we just kind of riff on HVAC, especially since you have an HVAC background, and we talk about a project. So what kind of project do you got to talk on?
Well, I've got healthcare. I've got
Ooh.
schools, wastewater treatment jobs. I guess we can hit on whatever you guys want to hit on.
Let's try schools. Education kind of facilities are interesting in general, because a lot of times we'll get like daycares or something like that, and then ventilation rates hit pretty heavy with those. What kind of school project do you guys usually look at? Or are you working
right
on
now? We have we have a high school going on, where we're providing the equipment on, and that consists of all the way air handlers all the way down to grills, diffusers in the ceiling.
Okay. So how many square feet roughly?
Jeez. Let's just say 100,000. I haven't looked at it from a square foot perspective, but let's just say 100,000.
Yeah. All right, cool. This one is an interesting category just because when we do it at PermaZip, we'll get like an adaptive reuse kind of thing. So it turns into a daycare, which is driven by similar ventilation rates, I'm sure. I've already guessed.
Right. I'm
going to try to just guess what the approach might be. Do you have, or did you decouple ventilation? Is there a DOAS on it?
No, there's, the outside air units and it's got energy recovery and things like that. So I guess it would still be like packaged.
Okay. All right. So some sort of ERV system ducted into air handlers around the area.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you guys normally work? I can't wait to talk to Austin here. He's listening. He says he's spicy, and us engineers always end up kind of frustrating a lot of folks. So how does it go? Because just why don't you real quick introduce yourself to everybody, like what you do and where you are in the equation of the commercial world.
Gotcha. My name is Jason Fabre. I'm with Hoffman & Hoffman, of course, here in Richmond, Virginia. Been with Hoffman for 19 years now, and been a sales engineer all 19 years. So I've been involved with a lot of different projects, sold a lot of different types of equipment over the years, and just look forward to being part of a team to help deliver a successful building or space to the owner.
Yeah. Jason, are you on Twitter? Austin's asking, do you have a Twitter handle?
Yes, I do have a Twitter.
Okay, yeah. If it's public, let us know. We can share that. A lot of what's actually surprising to me, we recently got involved with Twitter since about January, and it's amazing how active that community is of humans that just want to do business. Hello, check. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Oh yeah, I was just saying on Twitter, it's a vibrant community of people that want to do business. So if you're not active out there, I would recommend it because that's kind of most of our audience right now is out in that place. That's where Austin comes from too. He's actually when you hear him come on, he's from Philadelphia. I mean Pennsylvania area. He's got a really cool story. But
Okay.
anyhow, so 100,000 square feet roughly. You got some sort of ventilation equipment. Any other kind of things, challenges that come up with schools that you're familiar with in your world? I'm sure you've priced plenty of those.
It faded out a little bit, but some of the challenges that we see on schools, one is budget.
Mm-hmm.
Two is lead times and availability because a lot of schools in the summertime. So
Yep.
it's on over at the appropriate time, at least January, February timeframe if the school work is getting done in the summer. And then of course having the right equipment to meet the needs of the cooling and heating requirements.
Yeah. I think when we see it, we at Permit Zip are mostly on the light commercial side. So we see a lot of people surprised by how much tonnage they'll have because of the fresh air requirements that show up for the schools and daycares or those categories. In Virginia, you also have additional requirements. Right. So it surprises people, and there's ways to get around it if y'all are listening in. And basically, when it comes down to when you have an HVAC project, the best way to get your tonnage down is have as many windows as possible for natural ventilation, so that you don't have to ventilate if you can get away from it. Now, schools may have special like local state requirements that are different, but as it comes to the building code, that's one way to get around it. And then also a bipolar ionizer can get your ventilation rates lower. So it just depends on what the actual local requirements are. In a school like this, if it's state or BCom, you might be subject to their specific requirements. But that's kind of how we look at this kind of project, to keep the budget as low as possible, but be prepared to pay more than the 350 square foot per ton that for some reason everybody in Richmond thinks works for every single mechanical project ever. They think like I could just buy a split system, do 350 square foot per ton, and I'm fine. And it doesn't always work, but there's reasons why things are more expensive in HVAC, for sure. Yeah, what we call it devalue engineering. When people take away features, it's like, or another way I like to say is you can be as comfortable as you can afford.
Yes, we don't really need that, but you just took away the entire way the system was supposed to work.
Yeah, do you want all your printers to get the paper to get stuck? Because there's so much moisture in the air. There's a bug in my water. I'll drink it. Anyhow, so let's run a price. Right. Let's just see how it goes. All right, Carter, Phil, where would this land? I don't know. Do we have an educational facility?
We should. Maybe office?
We should.
We should definitely add this. Office would be tough because schools are usually, if we're doing an MEMP, our office price has a real cheap plumbing side because most offices don't have plumbing, but schools usually have a bunch of sinks and things in them. A lot more.
Yeah, maybe a
fixtures.
Religious facility might be good.
Yeah. This part of the show is us realizing we need more categories. What's really cool, if you tuned into our stream before, we showed you how we configure this behind the scenes. Is we can very easily add these categories. Anyhow, so let's do this. Oh God.
All right, so we're switching a little bit. A religious facility.
Yeah, just for the sake of, we don't have a school category, and we need to now. We're guessing that probably would be as close as I could imagine, because religious facilities actually are very similar to schools if you think about it, right? They have a lot of classrooms and assembly type occupancies. A school would probably have a gymnasium somewhere where you have a large, similar to like a sanctuary. So right now that's about as close.
Space.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna say, all right, so now here's the part of the game where if anybody's tuning in, we can guess. We take our bets. We're gonna calculate this cost right now. So in the private chat, everybody can do their and then it's like Price is Right rules. All right, so 100,000 square foot. We do full MEP on this. How much would this be? It's under a religious facility, so a giant church basically is what it's gonna be priced at. What's my gut check tell me? It's a big old church. All right.
Yes, it is.
All right, I'm going to put my price in
It's
here.
also the fun to see. We've run so many quotes, but then we always end up being wrong. Sometimes way wrong.
All right, so here I'll put my price in. Oh, Carter, you already did yours. All right, Phil's at 105. Carter's at 75,000. I just put 70. Jason's 125. Austin, you type in your number of full MEP engineering, what you think. Whoever gets closest without going over wins, and we'll see. And then
yeah, it's spicy.
Austin,
All right.
Austin says 25.
All right.
Austin wants to see
He's
your
like, that's
ramen
all I'm
noodles.
paying. Yeah. All right, here we go. Estimate the cost. It's closest without going over, so he may very well win, which would be the ultimate. We'll see. Drafting
I feel
proposal.
good about this one.
Yeah, so if you're tuning in, we're running a price. We just talked about a school facility. Oh wow, okay, 107.
Nice.
Wow.
Who wins?
Nailed
Who
it.
wins? Phil.
That's
Wow.
me, baby.
All right, Phil. 1 point, Phil. Unfortunately, Austin, you didn't win that round.
Making me
All right,
more
let's see.
spicy.
Phil guessed at 105 and the price was 107. So we'll send you, Jason, an actual discount code for you to use. It's a 50% off for being a guest with us. And if you have a real project where you need this, if this was an actual real project you need MEP on right now, you would be able to get it for half that. So, or I know that there's something that y'all are doing internally, Hoffman, that we could look at you could use it for as well. So Carter will send that to you on the afterward, and you can have fun, use it on the instant quote. The only catch is you have to actually apply it. Run the quote and then apply it, and then you'll see the 50% discount code go up, and that would literally take it and cut it in half. So we're only doing it up to when we give away $250,000 of the engineering, because like I've been telling people, we can only live on ramen noodles for so long, but. That is really our prices, so that's how we would price it for somebody. Any other thoughts before we bring on Austin on your side? Just stick around because you'll have to guess on his project too.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to bring up Austin here. Thanks, Jason. All right. So that was fun. Thanks for participating. We're going to bring in Austin Linney, who was on our very first live stream in Louisville with Carter and I. So here, welcome. There he is. Legend.
Snap. It's the setup.
Not often a call-in guest has the real deal setup.
I told you I put it on hardcore for you today. So last time I was in the field. So, but Jason needs to get on Twitter, man. That guy's doing some big jobs. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
That's why I want to talk to him. Yeah. That's great.
We can bring it back on later on.
So
here,
I actually do have it. I found out I do have a project. I forgot I went and talked to a guy yesterday. We're probably not going to do it, but that's not what I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
We'll talk about that. But what I wanted to talk about, he's a friend, right? So he is building a 25,000 square foot restaurant and distillery. Okay. Nobody knows about it. He's a friend. He has part of his business in Dubai. And the reason he brought us in, because the general contractor is handling the subs, the people that are doing the work, is he feels like the project is extremely over-engineered. Right? He's got grants, and he feels like some of the prices they're giving him. So timeline-wise, it's not really what we do, new construction. We're still going to help him, kind of give him some prices and stuff. But I find this to be almost every project of this magnitude, this size that I deal with, is that the architect or the engineer has gotten a little loosey-goosey with certain things on the HVAC or the electric. And what I told him, right, we met for like 2 hours the other day. What I told him was, I said, look, I want to meet code, but we don't need a Ferrari, right? And so I think there's a middle ground that I think a lot of people get caught in. And if you don't know, you're just going to overpay and you're never going to know.
Yeah, and if Jason's listening, he could totally probably sympathize because he's on the rep side. And as engineers, we're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Like there's a way to do the minimum code requirement. I always start in this kind of situation with saying you can be as comfortable as you can afford. So, and it's not illegal to be uncomfortable. So if you're fine with sweating your ass off in the kitchen, like that's cool. But ventilation rates are going to kill on this one too. There's a Type 1 hood, I'm sure, part of that restaurant. So that thing's got a lot of exhaust, and I would imagine Jason being like, "Yep."
Yeah, a lot of plumbing, things. That's what he was asking. He's like, it feels like the plumbing's like way overboard, right? And so, but you also are talking about a distillery that's going to have booze on the floor that you have to spray off. So there's, and by the way, I sold alcohol at a high level for 20 years, so I'm very familiar.
Yeah,
been to
you're an
France, been to
expert on the bourbon when we were talking.
Right. Yeah. So for him, here's the problem though. He wants to do it right because he's that type of guy. They literally own multiple restaurants in Dubai.
Yeah.
But he also has a grant for $3 million, and so $1 million's going to go to fees and all. So he's got to fit in that $2 million, and that's where it kind of that's kind of where you get into, right? What we found, and I'm just using it for anybody that's listening, customer wise, and I'm talking more on the residential side.
Yep.
The customer. This is what I'm telling my guys on a daily basis that they're kind of getting used to. The customer most times doesn't really know what they want. They want you to tell them what they want. And so the suggestion that I go is like, look, we could over-engineer your house and you can have all this extra stuff. Or we could do it this way, right? Because what we see most of the time is people have overdone it and then the unit can't keep up. And, it's like, so I think there's a great middle ground. And I think that the power for me has gone back to the contractor. I think the supply chain is loosening up, and I think you have more buying power to negotiate a good price, especially when I'm hearing that other companies are slower. You have more leeway, which is my favorite thing to do in the entire world, which is negotiate with vendors.
Yeah, that's true. And one of the, it's always people. I think I just saw a reel from you actually recently talking about, don't forget, like, working with people is really what it comes down to. Like all these leads and these sources of like CRM and all this, but it ultimately comes down to, do you want to work with this other human being? And the same thing with engineering. It's always a people problem, even if it's technically a technical problem. Engineers are quick to forget that, because we're not really people. We wish it was just an equation. But I mean, a lot of that stuff comes down to just really good consulting, good relationships. Maybe you have a good vendor relationship. I mean, we got Jason on here, but one thing that just comes to my mind, Carter, I don't know if it triggered your mind when I heard distillery is hazardous materials. I don't know if that category applies here, Austin, on yours, but there's a potential that the wiring methods would end up needing to be explosion proof or other things because of that category itself. So I always recommend in that situation hiring like a life safety professional that's like an expert in figuring out what category does apply, because you may need your fans to be explosion proof or the wiring methods to be explosion proof and all this because of it being a distillery. Do you know if any of that applies?
I don't. I mean, we got into just the initial talks. He showed me the plans. I was looking at them right now. My sales guy's on vacation, so we're going to look at it. He's a good friend, local guy. So even though we might not do the project just for timing sake, I told my CEO that we're going to help him one way or the other, because he's got a distillery in town he's building too, like a little like restaurant, like closer to town. And so we're going to be putting the boiler in there. So, it's just one of those things where, which let it be known, the hardest thing for me to do in the entire world is to turn down revenue, just so we're clear. Because if I had it my way, I am the floor to the floor. I'm all pedal, no gas. That for me has been the hardest thing. I said something the other day, and I stick by it, and I remind myself on a daily basis. Commercial is for your ego. Residential is for your sanity.
Yeah. And in the engineers, we only do commercial mostly just because there's no need for engineers on the residential side. It's all pretty straightforward. Almost square foot per ton works on every single house. If you're familiar with the region. It is
fun though. Yeah. I mean, like I brought the ductwork down. I'm kind of the delivery driver, photographer, social media guy, president, recruiter. I do a lot of different things. Yeah. But we're doing a 312 unit apartment complex, modular construction, the one that y'all saw me at. Yeah. We're on our 4th building now. It is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
yeah.
monster dump trucks running around everywhere. There's cranes and
Yeah.
cool, and it's a big project. You could see it from the highway, and everybody knows that you're working on it. Like it is,
Mm-hmm.
like it is pretty dope. Like that's why I think, and I'm just talking for myself, we're gonna take the commercial part of our business and move it outside of our plumbing, HVAC, electric, and have it
Yeah.
stand on its own.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna hit a number 2 to 5 to 6 million every year and let it pay its own bills instead of it sucking off the residential part of the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Residential seems, a lot. The cash flow seems to be a better situation too, because it's like in the commercial world, you have these huge invoices that you just wait forever to be paid, and it's
60
like
days.
the time value of money.
60
Yeah,
days on this one client. Yeah.
Yep. And if you're lucky, they'll pay it right on that 60-day instead of like 30 days behind and ignore the late fee or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the fun part. I'm sure Jason also can relate to that. Let's run this one though. This project.
So
MEMP.
plumbing and HVAC.
Okay, no
Yeah.
electrical, just plumbing.
No,
HVAC.
electrical too. Yeah, plumbing, HVAC, electrical. 25,000 square feet.
All right. It's a restaurant basically.
It's a distillery, restaurant, wedding venue. Yes, sir.
All right. So I guess we do have brewing coffee, but we'll put it under restaurant for now. All right. So
What is there like a breakdown, Austin, of how much of it is like the restaurant portion and how much of it is just like seating in other areas of the place?
I would say
I'd
like there's
assume,
seating.
it's a good
Yeah, I would say there's
storage
seating for like
portion.
50 to 75 people. There's so distillery's on the back right corner. You have offices in the back, and then the restaurant's in the front section, and that middle is kind of just an open banquet room.
okay. Are you thinking, Phil, we should break it out somehow?
Yeah, let's break it out a little bit.
Okay. How so?
Let's say like 5,000 for this restaurant. How much the office is there, Austin?
Maybe 2,000.
2,000, and then maybe the brewery for the rest of it, just kind of an
Oh, I see.
assembly area.
Yeah. So there's a firewall around the distillery part.
Yeah, that makes sense. Good call.
So then 18,000 for that brewery and coffee, and then we can run that.
All right.
It's the most
All right.
complex guest we've had so far.
Yeah.
I can
this
get
is
more. Yeah, I can get really complex. Yeah.
All right, so we broke it into 3 categories. So if you're watching, this is kind of how the Instant Quote works, but also if you go to permitzip.app, you can actually log in and get greater levels of customization, breaking out the space.
Before
and all
you
that.
do this quote, I want to say something about y'all. Okay.
Okay.
I've never met a group of people who are so positive and just such a pleasure
Okay,
to be around
cool.
every time. Yeah, he was very nervous. No, you're just such and I not to say this, like you're such a lighthouse in this space, because most of the people I talk to is very grumpy. And it's really cool to see people that care what they do, love what they do, and are willing to keep showing up and providing content. It's really great stuff.
We appreciate you saying that, man. That's
Yeah, I appreciate that.
yeah,
Thanks, man.
yeah. It's a wild industry, that's for sure. I'm sure you can you can relate.
There's 2 paths. Grumpy path or
Yeah,
this path. And,
it's called alcoholism, divorce, and living on your own, or the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, yeah. It's a
yeah,
dark
all
place
3
real
of us
quick.
have had a few of those decision points on this journey. So,
Yeah. All right, so let's see. We can place our fake wager bets in here on the private. If you're listening in, you can send us a chat for your guess on this price. Roughly 25,000 square foot restaurant-ish type thing. Let's see. What would I say it would be? All 3 trades.
I
All right.
say 58, 450.
All right, so yours is 58, 450. Okay, so if you're listening in, here's our numbers. Man, we keep going way low from what people are pricing, but Carter's at 60,000, Jason 73, I put 50, Phil is at 66, although he guessed last, so he has the benefit of trying to sweep in for the win. And then Austin's at 58.45. Let's see who the champion is on this one. Running the calculation now. And if you're tuning in, this thing is basically also, if you use it, it'll send you an email with a PDF attachment of the proposal. Wow. $40,000.
Sheesh.
Holy, did nobody win that round?
Nope. We
Wow.
all went over. That's a screaming deal.
Wow. Yeah, especially if
Yeah.
your friend wants it to get a half price. Although I don't know if we would need to be licensed in PA, but we could work that out if this is a real thing. So 40K was the actual number. So everybody busts. That's amazing. And if you use the coupon code, it'll be even half that. But I just want to show y'all. We just to show the proposal what it looks like. So it sends you this PDF as an email attachment, and kind of the assumption of the breakout here. This is where if you go to permitzip.app, you can kind of tune these spaces to be a little bit more representative if you wanted to. But generally speaking, these are just
Can I say something that's really, I might frustrate y'all, but just understand it's me, so don't.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
I'm literally finding out what y'all do for the first time right now, and I'm very
Really?
excited about it. I mean, that right there.
Hey, man.
Look, guys, remember, I'm the guy that didn't see a furnace before we bought this. Okay, just so we're clear, the story has been told. But that's amazing that it breaks out. I mean, you need to clip this video because this is your advertisement. It breaks out the possible budget for. Am I seeing that correctly? For the
Yeah, switch it
mechanical
back over. Yeah.
hourly. Wow. That's amazing.
The ad services, the whole contracts here, our standard terms and conditions, all that good stuff, and basically the proposal. The numbers.
Why aren't y'all living on a yacht? This is a no-brainer.
I know, man. That's what I've been saying.
I'll tell you, you can hear it here, between you, me, and the audience. We're basically part of our game plan here is to make this widely available to other firms as well. This back end kind of the way that we can configure this administratively, and so that this pricing could be automated.
You got to get in with the suppliers.
Mm.
Stop going to the customers. Stop going to people like me. We're a waste of time.
Here we
We're
got
fickle.
Jason. I'll bring Jason back in. He's a supplier.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
We're fickle people, right? The supplier has to sell it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a train. And I deal with the fire. Like yesterday, I was in 6 cities yesterday, like alone. You know, like it's crazy. I'm delivering ductwork. I'm carrying the ductwork. I could barely lift up my left arm. You know, but like the supplier, because we spend the most money with them, right? We're the biggest client. You should go to them. They implement this. It's a no-brainer. It's done.
Yeah.
Yes. And it gets you what you want.
1,000%. And what you want is to not be bothered. As a business owner, like
all engineers want the same thing.
Here's the problem, right? Is that let me just walk you through exactly how it goes down. We don't actually get jobs from the customer. We get jobs from the architect and the engineers.
Yeah.
I'm in a rural town. We don't get the customer is debatable. I mean, we do work for the county.
Yeah.
Right? That's a client, but they have an engineer that's worked with us for 20 years. That's how we really get the work. Like it's the county's great and it's a customer and they love us, but like the eye care center that we just did, that's all the architect who they're picking or the engineers picking. It's just a different game when you really like unpack it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, supplier. I mean, I guess that's part of why we always work on relationships. It's a mutual beneficial relationship with folks like us and Jason on the rep side and the supplier side, because, you know, the more we work with them, the more we learn about the equipment that's on the shelf or what the lead time issues or what the features are and what prices are. They can
what's
help us with
necessary,
selections.
what's not necessary.
Yeah.
What's going to increase the budget, what's going to keep you in budget.
Jason, my question for you is super simple, because I wasn't very in commercial before this, and we were heavily before when I bought it. The commercial sales space, for lack of a better word, is unmarketable. It does not. I mean, it does not exist through traditional marketing venues. Like if I'm selling an AC, Facebook, Google Ads, is it still to this day commercial sales is truly relationship based?
You're breaking up.
Okay.
But what I think you're trying to say is, or at least what I'm understanding that you're trying to say is it relationship based to get the right equipment?
Mhm.
Is that what
Correct.
you're asking?
Yeah, because there's not
Um,
it's not a marketable avenue.
Uh, yes and no. It depends what you have access to. For instance, if you have access to a contractor and you tell the contractor what you're looking for, well, then that contractor can go and ask the rep, "Hey, I'm looking for this. Can you help me with this?" And he has that relationship.
Yeah.
If you're a homeowner or an owner of a building or something of that sort, it's nice to have direct access to a rep where you can get information and not all the twists and turns of what other relationships can put into it. So yes, you absolutely, everything revolves around a relationship is what it boils.
And what I find, and maybe it's just not me, because the customer service, I know there's different technologies, but it's hilarious to me because I'm in the process of hiring right now, and I do the hiring. How some of these old timers or people that have been doing this for 20 years, like they only work with one type of equipment, and it like blows me away. And then like we try to change, and they were like, "Yeah, that ductless is dog shit. Like I'm not working with that." And
Right.
like,
Never gonna work. It's not the right application and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, I'm like, dude,
And they
the
get stuck
like,
in,
like
the
I don't want to get
1980s
technical here,
mentality.
but I guarantee the technology is pretty similar.
Right. I just upgraded my HVAC equipment in my house,
Okay, yeah,
and I went brand new technology, or maybe not brand new, but newer technology. And my wife and 3 kids are notorious for going in and bumping down the thermostat
yeah,
when the unit itself can't maintain the temperature, right? That is historically what people do as owners that don't typically know how equipment works.
Set it
Well,
at
this
65.
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
This equipment, when we don't feel comfortable in our house, what do? We go turn the thermostat down. Well, hopefully the thermostat can maintain the temperature and all that kind of stuff, the set point. Well, when you're not comfortable, it's most likely due to the humidity in the space. So
Preach.
I can set this controller up to dehumidify.
Dude. Hey, Jason, I'm stealing you. Come sell, dude. This is a true story. We installed ductless in our house up here. I never had it before because I'm from Texas. That's not what we do. I'm in Pennsylvania now, and all
Right.
last summer was a nightmare. Like it was
Yes.
hot as fuck. I'm like, my fiance's like, she's like, I'm sorry guys. She's like, fuck Mitsubishi. She's like, fuck these motherfuckers. She's like, all y'all need to go back to school, right? Like the whole 9, right?
You need
my
to get your
CEO
equipment working right.
Right. Here we go. So my CEO's from Maryland. He's used to this shit, right? I'm not used to it. And he said, dude, he said, let me come over. He said, I think it's purely a settings thing. He's like, the shit's fine, right? So we switched it all to dry, and I have to turn them off. They're so fucking cold.
Yeah.
And so here's what it made me realize in my head. Does a customer have improper equipment, or have they been not taught how to work proper equipment?
Well, it could be a third option too, where it wasn't set up properly.
There you go.
Yeah, a lot of times commissioning is skipped.
Right, where you don't know what the contract or what the end user is looking for.
Yeah.
So you could set it up for what 80% of the population wants it set up for, but then you get the 1 or 2 outside of that, and they want it a little bit more sophisticated. Well, they think that the equipment's garbage, but it really isn't. It was just not set up to what they're looking for.
So true.
Yeah.
So I got a fun one for you.
Okay.
I remember all these fun things I do. Last Friday from Twitter, we're working out an estimate for a maintenance contract. You ready for it? It's the coolest shit in the world. I have so many ideas. It's not even crazy. 600 miles of underground cave storage.
Wow.
600 miles, right?
Wow.
600 miles. We toured the whole thing. They have 18 units. They're only working on humidify, right?
Yeah.
He's going to open up. They store 2,000 boats, RVs, and cars during the winter. And my commercial guy went around and said all the units weren't built the right way. They're not the ones you should be using. He just like shit on the whole thing. But basically what he was saying is that to Jason's point, the company that were doing it, they did what they thought was great, but they didn't do what was great for the area.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
the local conditions.
That's going the extra step for the customer.
1,000%.
And if you're not doing that, you're not knowing, you're not understanding, you're not trying to build that relationship with that end user.
So what we're going to do, we just brought on a head trainer, spent 12 years at Honeywell, safety director. He's actually going to film videos for the customers on how to use stuff right. And so you get the equipment, right? And then we're going to say, okay, yeah, but if it's, because the thing here is what I didn't realize about this area is the humidity off of Lake Erie is a nightmare. I feel like I'm in Houston, like most of the time, which is crazy to me, right?
Right. It's hard to believe.
So the question is like, you don't have a heat problem, you have a humidity problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And so how do you combat that? And so there's a lot to it, right? And then if you go, I'm sure Jason's seen it, y'all have seen it. The technology that's coming out now, it blow people away. I mean, this stuff is coming down the pipe. These people aren't even going to know what's going on.
And the great thing is you have lower utility costs.
Correct.
Because it's operating the way that you need it to operate, as opposed to, my wife would go in and turn it down to 65 and it's just going to keep running and running and running where it doesn't need to. So that's the difference between, the old mentality of what equipment used to do for a house versus what it's doing now. And you don't have to keep constantly juggling it. It does it automatically.
And that's where Permit Zip comes in, and that's why going with them. See, guys, look, 800 episodes, bro. I can do this all day long. So that's why outsourcing this work to them by a click of a button makes so much sense, right? Because here's something that's very important, right? And I was just talking about this last night with my CEO. Our guys don't not know what they're doing. They just get nervous because they don't want to look like they don't know what they're doing. Does that make sense? And so for all you young architects, engineers, project managers, use Permit Zip and make yourself look amazing and stop trying to figure it all out for yourself. Do you know I have left meetings in the middle of meetings when it doesn't pertain to me? And people get so frustrated. They're like, why are you leaving? I'm like, dude, the guy that's here in my company handles this. I'm a waste on this call. And that's a long lesson I've had to realize, right? We outsource, VAs, right? For customer service, or you're doing legwork. Do the same thing with their technology. That was a click of a button. Like if I would have showed that to my client, he would have gone with them in 2 seconds. And that's what it's exciting to me. So in my opinion, the ideal customer for you ready for it? It's all counties, baby. Counties. Because I guarantee you somebody's in that role that shouldn't be. They're already nervous. They're trying to learn on the job. And they have an easy button with you. That button that y'all push, you should change it and just say easy button.
Easy, yeah. Easy button. It's funny you mentioned that because on that note, we've been thinking, these square footages are the similar inputs that we use when we do schematic level planning for the tonnages needed in a space. Like I could take these same square footages and correlate
now
them
you're
to
talking
tonnage.
And you're changing my life right now if you're telling me this.
Yeah, right.
Because look, I'll call myself out. I've never been more emasculated in my entire life when I was on that job site last month, and the electrician walked up to me and was talking to me about tonnage shit, and I was like, dude.
I don't know. Put a couple tons over there, but because like there's a check values, like restaurants, for example, you would have a range of 100 to 150, 200 square foot per ton, and multifamily, there's these square footage ranges that where we had talked to Hoffman. Actually, I was having lunch. I don't know, Jason, were you at that lunch?
I was not.
Okay.
One of the guys in our office were.
Yeah. I think Charlie was there. But anyhow, I was talking to them about this tool we're building. I'm like, basically, releasing a tool that has the same inputs that'll give you a quick range of tonnage, but also it'd be cool to collaborate with you and other folks about the kinds of equipment that would be like what you could expect. And it could be white
Right.
labeled out to say, hey, here's the tonnage range you can expect. Here's the kind of equipment that would be a good fit. And just so happens to be the exact inputs from the instant quote. So if you wanted to go ahead and say also engineering would be this price, we already have that data available. So you kind of can bundle up a lot of really good early information for folks. And that kind of tool being available to a Hoffman to me makes a lot of sense because it just kind of helps you guys,
Right.
you know.
Absolutely. I mean, anything more to build relationships and sell more equipment would be fantastic. And
Yeah, and it's always that-
design engineers make their jobs easier too.
And you talk about humidity. That one is a big. It's like an invisible dollar sign. Like it costs money to deal with humidity, basically. And
Right.
and
I
And
believe
no one who has to spend money on it tends to understand why that is a problem.
yeah, yeah,
For us anyways.
I believe it's the actual thing that you're spending money on. That's
Yeah.
my personal
Mhm.
opinion.
That's the prime, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've lived in all the climates, guys. I've lived in Tempe. It's
Mhm.
120 degrees,
yeah.
but it's not humid.
Right. It's the dry heat that is
Yeah.
livable. It's the
Yeah.
humidity that makes it so uncomfortable.
The way
Yep.
I describe it, because I'm born and raised Houston, is when you step off a plane in Houston, Texas, it feels like a coat gets draped on top of you.
Mhm.
Okay, and so here I get up every morning at 4 a.m. and I'm out walking. At 5 a.m., it's 96% humidity. Right,
Mhm.
same temperature, right?
Yep.
But at 12 o'clock, the humidity goes away. It feels amazing.
Mhm.
Yes.
So think about that. You're sleeping and you're uncomfortable, but during the day you don't need it. And so it's the system has to be able to operate. And I asked my my neighbor, we just redid my neighbor's house, and I said, "Hey, how's it going for you?" And he goes, "My attic is the coolest it's ever been in 30 years."
Yeah.
He goes, "I don't even feel warm this summer at all."
Mhm.
And so he's like, he didn't even say like, "Hey, the bottom floor is good." He said, No. The top floor is finally getting air because it's
Yeah.
a powerful unit.
Right.
It's a carrier. It gets to where it needs to go. And so, I live in a 4-story house, right? We don't need any AC on the bottom floor. It's always
Mm.
cold.
Yeah.
But guess
Yeah.
what? And here's the true story. We're not sleeping on the top floor right now. We're sleeping
Mm.
on the second floor or the third floor because that room was a converted attic. And no matter what we do, it's just toasty as hell in the
Mhm.
afternoon up
Yeah.
there, and it doesn't cool down.
I got
So-
a little window
yeah,
unit because
yeah,
I'm
right.
upstairs.
So these are the things that people
Phil's window
don't.
unit.
These are the things that people don't. These are the things that people don't think about, right? And also
Mhm.
the climate has changed, and so maybe what you believe to be the thing for 20 years maybe is not the thing right now. And so then, okay, well, what products am I using, right?
Right.
And so that's where it gets, that's where it's getting mad. And then also, not to get crazy, but they also don't realize because they're an average consumer that every damn product has gone up, 60%.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and when we talk about when we try to consult on this, it's all about trying
Yes.
to give people context, and it's like you can either pay today or tomorrow. Like you're either going to pay today in the right equipment, or you can get the not right equipment, which means virtually getting rid of all of the moisture removal stuff, and then you'll be paying for like the next 15 years until the stuff dies, because it's hard to fix it if you don't buy the right stuff day one. It's just going to be never ending. You could throw a little mini split here and there, but ultimately, if you in these humid climates don't deal with the humidity day one with the right equipment, that's just going to be a never-ending issue. It's hard to consult on that, and because it's such a nerdy conversation that I think I posted the other day. I think you might have commented on it. I'm not sure, Austin, but it was like I was literally told to shut up by a developer the other day, but it was the best shut up of my life because he was like, I was nerding out, telling him why he needs a spec. He was like, "Shut up. All right, I'll spend the extra 42 grand." I was like, yes, because it was for a reheat circuit.
Well,
And-
here's the think about it this way. I just had some pop in my head.
yeah,
People hate spending money for things they can't see, right? Foundation work,
Yeah.
underground sewage, and everything. Here's the problem, though.
Right.
Everything that you're not spending money on that you can't see, you're feeling it.
mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And so if you don't spend the money on that, then you're
Yes.
going to feel like shit in your own home.
Mhm.
Have you ever sat in an unproper home and you're like sweating on your fucking couch? There's nothing more angrily than like trying to like watch football or something and you're sweating in your damn house. You're like, what's going on here, right? But what I found is that I think the best way, because we have it all the time, is people nurse it along because they think they're saving money. But if you add it up, how many times they've done service with us, if they just would have fixed it once, you would have probably saved money.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
also by not paying for what you don't see, it's going to eventually destroy what you can see.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, over
Yeah.
time.
Damn, Phil, that was deep.
That was deep, bro. Dude, you just dropped some Ryan Holiday on us over here, dude.
Yeah.
Do my best.
There it is. I was trying to find the record scratch. There it is. Yeah, that's so true. We've had it happen where, okay, going back to, I think you were talking about it, Jason, where commissioning gets skipped or the startup gets skipped, and then like something that would normally work just gets complaints because like the configuration isn't set. And we've had that happen on a project before where it's like 5 units, they were made for a lab, they were spec'd right, but they never were started right. And so what happened is the laminate tiles were coming up and stuff was coming off the wall, and it almost turned into a huge problem for us because everybody kept looking at us like, you specified this, what's going on? And it was just nobody went to the control board and told it what to do. So the equipment, it's not like a regular carrier unit where you could plug in the thermostat and it goes, right? It was a system that required specific sequence of operations. They were pre-built into the control board. Like you just had to tell it what you wanted to do, and nobody did that. It almost became this huge issue, but that's the challenge, I think, between the three of us, right? I'm the engineer, then you got the contractor on the call, and we have the rep. Like we got to start day one being on the same page, and sometimes, unfortunately, we get on the opposite side of the world and end up in a battle where if we stay together day one all the way through,
Absolutely.
we're the right people to solve the problems with the client. It's a hard thing
So
to balance.
he went where I
Yeah,
want.
you
so I'll
know,
go
it's
a
almost
little-
like we need to have
go
a
ahead, Jay.
kickoff meeting.
Yeah.
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 So
Great point.
I'm having connection issues, but I was just going to say it's very beneficial, that kickoff meeting of all the parties involved, get on the same page and understand what the constraints are going into the project.
Yeah, my favorite litmus test, if I have the right team, is if everybody on the team, I can send them a meme and I know that which one that they'll laugh at. Like that's where I know I got the right team members, because like they're gonna come to me first before it becomes some shit show, and we're gonna be like, if I know I got some funny little meme that I can send you and you'll laugh because it's an inside joke. Now we have the right trust to execute the project the right way. Anything short of that, then it can turn really shitty really quick, and that's
Right.
the name of the game is avoiding that. What were you saying, Austin? I think you were
Well,
mentioning
no,
something.
I at the end of the day, you have to understand where everybody's motivation is coming from.
Mhm.
Period. End of story. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
The seller of the business I bought is doing a project for us. It's his last project. He's been in the trade for 50 years. He's working with our 2 oldest techs, his best friends. You know how much I'm involved in that project? Fucking nothing. Because he would tell me to go, find myself somewhere else, even though it's him. He sold me the company, because I understand how much that means to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing this since he was 16. He's 66. This
Yeah.
is the biggest project of the company's history, too.
Yeah.
I want him to do this. I want him to have all that, and I'm not going to step on his toes. It's the same way when you walk on a project. You know the guy that's out there peacocking, and you know the one that's actually probably smart and being quiet,
Mm-hmm.
and you pull that quiet guy aside because he doesn't want to speak up in person, and you say, is there anything we missed? And you
Yeah.
show him that trust. Game over.
Yeah. Yeah, man. People.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
always
this is
a people
exactly
thing.
why we're doing this right now. Honestly, is we realize we are siloed internally, and that also tend to be siloed from everybody else related to a project we're on. And usually we don't hear from anybody until they're mad at us, even if they maybe don't have a good reason to be mad at us. They don't know that. It's a good assumption because we're just not there. It's easy to be mad at the person who's not there. So because of that ongoing, we realized if we don't have relationship, then we literally have nothing here. We have no new work. We have no trust. All we have is something that we get paid for late, and then people say we owe them money because they don't understand the specs. That's what we have if we don't have relationship. So that's exactly why we're doing this live stream right now.
Yeah.
It's that
I
exact situation.
guarantee you, Phil reads a lot of philosophical books. I
Yeah.
could look through his. I'm loving this guy right now because that's actually all I want to talk about. You bring me on to talk about commercial HVAC shit like I give a fuck. All right, like, dude, it's like it is a relationship business, 100%, and you have to take your ego and you have to put it aside and put it on a shelf because it doesn't fucking matter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the more that you need to step your ego in front, the less you're going to get business. But more importantly, the less that it's going to be for you. That friction, I can't stand it. Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need the friction because they're not doing their job. I mean, you've never seen a
Well-
guy negotiate with his vendors, but if they're doing a good job, you praise them for it too.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
ahead, Jay.
if you don't have relationships, you get burned out. You know, you feel that burnout, and that's going to cause you to drink and everything else that you mentioned before. So if you have relationships, selling is much easier, and it's more fun. So if you have that, then you don't experience the burnout. That's been my experience, at least.
Yeah. If they start eroding or if you start going south, it just becomes exhausting and just like getting up every day when things that, but putting the real effort into the relationship, it just pays dividends. Like that's kind of what we've been really focusing on. Of course, we have the nerdy technology and stuff, and we are nerds, but it always still comes down to, which is why, Jason, by the way, I love Twitter. I mean, we met Austin on Twitter. And he crashed we were in Louisville doing a podcast thing. He just crashed the live stream on site, like the project he was talking about.
Nice.
And it's been great getting to know him. We've learned a lot from him. He's actually one of the first folks that, is a official influencer level person on Twitter that we got to know. And I really appreciate, you riffing with us, Austin. It's awesome. But yeah, it's a good place.
I think that we all need to understand a couple things about life, and if you figure these things out, your life will be a lot easier. Okay, and hear me out. Every one of you motherfuckers, every single human that exists on the planet is special. You're badass, and you're great. And here's the thing that you got to remind yourself: it's never as bad as it seems. It's never as good as it seems. It's somewhere in the middle. And it's the same thing I told my business partners the other day. I have to wake up every day to earn the right to be your business partner. There's no complacency. Every damn day. I've got 4 businesses. There's every damn day. Every business partner. I'm out there fighting for you. I'll do what's necessary. Oh, you need the ductwork down there an hour and a half away? You need to load on the trailer in the middle of the summer? I don't give a shit. Let's go do work. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because my guys are working in the sun away from their families for 4 days, 4 tens. They deserve to keep working. And so when you cut out your ego and you realize that whatever you're going through, because I've been through it all, right? Divorce, addiction, homelessness, the whole nine, is that if you got yourself in that way, you're the one that's got the key to get you out. And when you have business partners that I'm looking at this thing, and let it be known, Jason could sell a ketchup popsicle to a man wearing a white suit. That's for damn sure. Okay, I know that for sure. Right? And so when you have partners that care as much as y'all do, the product's going to be great too. And so a customer would want to be involved with people such as y'all to get the best customer service, the best attention to detail out of it. And that's what business is about. And if you're in it for the short term, it's going to be a very exhausting world for you.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, preach.
All right. Now here's the deal. I got to go take my girl to Walmart. Okay.
Yeah.
So I appreciate all y'all. I got to go make the real one that matters. The
real
one
boss?
that scares me to death. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got to go take her.
Thanks for
I appreciate
joining
all
us.
of y'all. Jason, it was nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too,
Yeah.
Austin. Thank
See
you.
ya, Austin. Thanks so much, brother.
Nice talking to you, man. Take it easy.
All right, Jason, we're going to wrap up here too for you. I appreciate your time today,
Okay.
man. And
Thank you.
we'll see you
Appreciate
next
the
time. Shoot
opportunity.
me a text if you need anything. Yeah, man. Thanks so much for
All
coming in.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Jason.
That was fun. If you guys are tuning in still, we are wrapping up. I was hoping to grab one more. Austin said he had one more project that I was hoping to grab, but he had to go. Obviously, there's priorities here. But that was fun. Thank you so much, Austin and Jason, for hopping in. That was a last minute for both of us. We had one more guest, never showed up, but next week same time, 1:00. If you saw, we did 2 prices. We all lost on that. I was surprised that $40,000 bust.
Yeah.
No winner, but Phil is the winner today with the first price at 105 when it came in at 107. So we will post the results. Any other final thoughts, Carter, Phil, before we wrap?
Just be looking out for that belt, Phil. It'll be to your house soon.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah,
Yep, it's in the mail.
If you have ideas for rules, we're making this up as we go, quite literally. Right now, we're doing prizes right rules for when we run the quotes, and we're kind of just sort of keeping an informal tally of who's won the most rounds, and somewhere along the lines of sending fun trophies, little plastic trophies or some gimmick prize, but also an official annual belt is in my head, like a WWE style wrestling belt that whoever is the champion can keep in their house or wherever for the year. So when they join through the year, they can have it up in the background.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right over there.
So that would be the idea. All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in again. Permit Zip. I am the Blueprint Tour on Twitter. Phil, Permit Zip Phil. Carter is BPT Carter. That was Austin Linney. Check him out. He's an awesome dude. And we had Jason from Hoffman & Hoffman on with us as well today. So thanks.